Tourists in Sanya have reported shocking experiences while diving, where instructors allegedly pressured them into paying 980 yuan for a photo. Those who refused reportedly had their diving masks removed, causing them to choke underwater. Terrified and helpless, some were forced to agree to the photo demands.
It's finally trending. I've been holding on to this for a year. Last year, I went to Sanya with my husband and encountered a similar situation. We had bought a package deal that included diving, and it came with a mouthpiece. They said with the mouthpiece, you can live without needing to purchase anything else. But once we got onto the boat, we realized it wasn't that simple. The diving instructor told us the mouthpiece from the package was useless, so I had to pay an additional 150 yuan just to rent a pair of goggles. And mind you, it was a rental, not a kit. After using it, you had to return it. My husband worried about me because we're not familiar with diving, bought goggles specifically for me while he used the package mouthpiece. After the dive, he came back looking so distressed and told me, "Honey, I bought the goggles too. I nearly drowned down there." I was shocked. How could it be so dangerous? He explained that when he went underwater, the instructor pushed him down abruptly. Since he isn't a professional diver and doesn't swim well, water entered his nose as he instinctively tried to breathe. It was terrifying. The instructor then pulled him up and asked, "Do you want goggles?" Judging by the instructor's expression, it looked like he would push him down again if he refused. My husband thought it wasn't worth risking his life for a few hundred yuan, so he reluctantly rented the goggles. It didn't stop there. During the dive, the instructor kept promoting photo packages, saying things like, "You are in Sanya, you won't visit often, so you should capture the memories." The diving time was very short, and he spent most of it advertising to us. When I didn't agree, he called my husband over, and several of them surrounded us, pressuring us to spend 1,000 or 2,000 yuan for a photo with the fish. The most frustrating part? The water was incredibly murky and filthy. I even saw a staff member smoking on a boat, flicking his cigarette butt into the water and spitting directly in the sea. I can't imagine how this water is still being used for diving. Finally, this issue has been exposed.
This alarming incident, initially exposed in China months ago and now circulating internationally, was captured in a video, the only known piece of evidence. Without it, the continuation of such practices might have been unimaginable. Numerous online accounts have further revealed disturbing stories. One netizen recounted, "During a dive, I was asked to pay 980 yuan for a photo. I refused and they blocked my breathing tube underwater. I felt like I was going to die. It was terrifying and felt like attempted murder. I demand strict punishment for these actions." Another claimed, "At Yalong 1, I refused to buy photos despite being told my wife had already agreed. Later, they dragged me several meters underwater, injuring my eardrum." A third account revealed, "My 10-year-old son was forced underwater during a dive when he refused to have his photo taken. I only learned about it afterwards." These events took place in Sanya, a destination once regarded as a tropical paradise. However, alongside these alleged deadly diving experiences, the city has also gained notoriety for unscrupulous seafood vendors. Anonymous online commentators have described Sanya's reputation in stark terms. "Visiting Sanya feels more like an expedition than a vacation," one remarked. Another said, "It's like going to Somalia or Syria." Others have suggested, "Before visiting Sanya, you'd better get life insurance." Despite public outrage, Sanya's tourism operators and local authorities seem unconcerned. A common sentiment among them allegedly is, "With over 1 billion people in China, there's always someone willing to come. Even if we overcharge everyone once, we'll never run out of customers." However, this year's tourist season paints a different picture, with Sanya's streets noticeably empty. People used to complain about how crowded Sanya was. Look at it now. Jelly-like waters, glassy seas, and flower-soft sand, but no people. No people at all. Now's the perfect time to visit Sanya. Flights are cheap, accommodations are cheap, and even activities are affordable. There are no lines anywhere, and food prices have gone down. Fruit is cheaper too. What reason do you have not to come? Book your trip now. Reports indicate that Sanya's most famous night market, Yiheng, recently shut down. It's over. The Yiheng night market has officially shut down. Look at what used to be a vibrant place, full of vendors and lights. It's gone now. The iconic Yiheng sign has been dismantled and the surrounding area is filled with people protesting for their rights. Look at what's become of the Yiheng night market. None of the vendors were out and the new management raised the rent from 10,000 yuan to 50,000 yuan. No wonder everyone's on strike. The market is empty. Let's take a look inside. Vendors can barely sell 300 yuan worth of goods and rent is still going up. Exactly. They're asking for 700,000 to 800,000 yuan a year. Amid China's economic downturn and declining consumption, the market's new management hiked rent fivefold, driving stall owners to strike. While the resolution remains unclear, certainly any increased costs will ultimately burden tourists. In another incident that went viral, a tourist recounted being chased by a seafood stall owner who demanded payment for food they never ordered. The owner accused the tourist of ordering dishes and weighing seafood even though the tourist had only walked past the stall. There are even influencers who specifically set out to experience and verify Sanya's notorious seafood scams, ultimately completing their bucket list wish.
Everyone talks about how chaotic Sanya is, but I thought after years of reform, it might have improved. I came here today to see if it's as bad as they say.
Two bloggers who visited Sanya shared their experiences at a seafood market. Shortly after arriving, a salesperson handed them a card promoting a processing service. One of the bloggers asked, "Does your shop sell seafood?" The salesperson replied, "We don't sell seafood, we only process it. You can buy seafood yourself, like scallops, for just 1 yuan each." However, the blogger's companion warned, if you're not paying attention, they'll give you dead seafood or swap it for something else. As they were discussing this, the same salesperson reappeared, saying seafood could also be purchased directly inside the shop. The blogger remarked, "I realized she had been following us the entire time." Other tourists have exposed videos of Sanya's notorious seafood market practices. A visitor purchased seafood for 294 yuan but later discovered they were overcharged by 50 yuan. Worse, the processing fees at a nearby restaurant totaled 220 yuan, more than the cost of the seafood itself. Allegedly, the purchased seafood was swapped for lower quality products.
Scallops were advertised as 5 yuan each, but the processing fee was 10 yuan per scallop, and we never even touched the seafood we bought. While we were paying, it was whisked away and then taken straight to the kitchen. When the seafood was sent to the kitchen, we weren't even inside the restaurant yet, and we still don't know where our seafood ended up. They have a system. When we were buying, they told us scallops were 1 yuan each, but when we went to pay, they claimed they were out of scallops. It was a bait and switch to lure us in. They said there were multiple items for 1 yuan each, but all of them were out of stock. Then the prawns came out. Were they the ones we bought? The prawns were so much smaller than the ones we picked out. When I chose them, they were large. Now only one prawn in the dish is big, and the rest are tiny. There's no way prawns of such different sizes were in the same tank. I'm very upset. I spent so much money on seafood and even more on processing fees, but the seafood was swapped. It was swapped out. Our seafood were cooked like this, and something about the smell seems off. Doesn't it smell rotten to you? This one is rotten, and so is that one. The seafood we bought must have gone on a little vacation and has probably already been resold to someone else. Why didn't we confront the staff? Because we are two women. We had to prioritize our safety. So to sum it up in one sentence, don't come to Sanya.
Sanya's predicament reflects broader challenges in China's hospitality and tourism sectors. This year has been incredibly tough for the restaurant business. Let me show you just how harsh the reality is. It's already 8 p.m., which should be the peak time for restaurants. Let's take a look. This barbecue lobster place, empty. This lamb restaurant is also empty. Let's go further ahead. This barbecue spot, no one there either. The fourth place, still no one. Here's a private dining restaurant and there's just one table occupied. And over here, not many people either. This hot pot restaurant, such a big venue, has only one table occupied and they're using discount coupons. How can businesses survive like this? What's going on with the restaurant industry this year? I'm standing on a street that used to be one of the busiest areas in Hefei. There used to be street vendors lining these sidewalks staying open until 1 or 2 a.m., but now it's completely deserted. Where have all the people gone? This is Huizhou, a city with a population of 6 million. Now look, shops aren't opening and houses are sitting empty. Huizhou used to be bustling with beautiful women and massive crowds. Now, even the hotel lounges and clubs are empty. I just want to ask, where did all the people go? Ladies, where have you all gone? The once popular Nongjiale rural dining industry has also seen a dramatic decline, with over 80,000 closures this year.
So why are so many Nongjiale restaurants shutting down? Why have customers stopped dining there? First, the prices are outrageously high. A plate of shredded potatoes costs 20 yuan, and a stewed chicken can be 200 to 300 yuan. Second, the food tastes terrible, even worse than fast food. Third, hygiene is poor, with dirty environment and even rats in the kitchen. Fourth, the service is terrible and the owners act like they're doing you a favor by letting you eat there. Fifth, they scam customers with random charges. For example, a 2-kilo fish is suddenly 3 kilos after it's cooked. Sixth, they falsely advertise wholesale fish as being locally raised and organic, but it's all bought from the market.
Once packed with diners, Nongjiale restaurants now stand empty. Over 80,000 of them have closed, despite once booming thanks to China's tourism industry. In recent years, many netizens have reported that their favorite Nongjiale spots have disappeared, with phone lines disconnected and doors shut. Some owners who barely survived the 3 years of the pandemic hoped for a rebound, but still face bleak business. Many have lost most of their staff and are now left doing everything themselves, cooking, serving, and managing the cash register. After years of losses, some say taking up other jobs is better. Others complain that Nongjiale is no longer what it used to be. The quality of food and service has declined, and some restaurants even serve pre-cooked meals. What's worse, the so-called free-range chicken and freshly caught fish often taste anything but fresh, and the prices are sky-high. A meal for 2 or 3 people can cost 600 to 700 yuan, while similar dishes in the city cost just over 200 yuan. The price gap has left many customers unwilling to return. Initially praised for affordable, authentic experiences, the sector has since commercialized, raising prices and cutting corners. Complaints of overpriced, low-quality meals and unsanitary conditions have driven customers away. Many Nongjiale rural restaurants began raising their prices significantly, even passing off cheap market-bought chicken and duck as home-raised. Some were so focused on short-term profits that they resorted to scamming customers, even if it meant ruining their reputation with one-off deals. Initially, the rarity of such establishments helped them thrive. However, as the market became saturated, customers started demanding higher standards for both food and dining environments. The crude toilets with foul odors, tasteless dishes, and a complete lack of innovation in their business models quickly became a turnoff. Some even charged exorbitant prices, with meals costing thousands of yuan despite failing to provide basic amenities like proper restrooms. Unsurprisingly, customers have been unwilling to return. Many now view Nongjiale operators as symbols of greed, turning simple country dining into exploitative schemes. These issues highlight the industry's failures, government negligence, and alleged corruption. Critics argue that local authorities have allowed such predatory practices to flourish. Even more absurd is the fact that many Nongjiale establishments have shown no effort to improve their basic services. Toilets reek of foul odors, restaurants are greasy, and the overall environment is run down. The owners often display an indifferent attitude, seemingly focused only on overcharging customers without concern for quality or reputation, which has left many feeling deeply disgusted. This tourism crisis is at the heart of China's slowing economy and declining consumer spending. Sanya's transformation from a beloved vacation spot to a symbol of exploitation and mismanagement reflects deeper systemic issues. What was once a tropical haven has become, for many, a place to avoid.